Much tougher field, and he was able to finish third last year. Terrific run for the little horse.
Yeah, it was a terrific run. What have you made of him during the week here, Larry?
I think he's been fine, but because he raced here not long ago, and as Jose said, he was flat. And last year there was a lot of talk about him on the race day that this is the horse that's going to run a big race, and he did. This year the talk's not there. You know, you don't listen to coffee shop talk, but that was. He's had that confidence from the camp, and I don't think it's there this year. And probably this was his terrific win. This is what tipped me into him for the Gold Cup. I was wrong, but
yeah. But the important thing about this was the mare bypassed this race.
Exactly, and but this win was just a beauty. And as Jose said, if it's a second run syndrome, a bit flat, if he picks up, he's in with a chance.
The one thing about him, and we've spoken about possible weather scenarios. He can go on good or soft, but I think maybe just to even it up for him, he'd actually like a fair bit of rain, because when he was winning really impressively at the start of his career, he was getting through some real bog tracks and he relished it. So I think Connections will be hoping for a wet track for him. South
African bred Galloper Lazar, it's almost a case of what might have been for him. He got injured on the way from South Africa to Dubai initially. Pat Shaw's done a very good job with him, and of course he was placed in the Gold Cup a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he has done a good job. He's a bit like Deep Pockets in a way that he's actually run a lot of placings in feature races, but last time he got a feature, he's won 2 features already this year because he won the New Year Cup, so he's having a particularly good season. I don't think he's raced any better, and that's saying something given he's finished second in a Gold Cup. Tested, not the best of the locals, but certainly a horse on top of his game, I think.
Yeah, he goes in good form, which is all you can ask for, Larry, I guess.
I think he's probably the second best local. Obviously, Better Life's we'll talk about her later, but I think he's flying. You know his quality. You know, the fact he was going to Dubai, Pat brought him, through it with Mike. I also like the fact 2 South African breds, he's one of them, and Flax as well.
Yep, we've also got a couple of locals that we probably haven't given a huge chance to, Deep Pockets and also Ready to Strike, but we will show you their track work during the weekend. Deep Pockets, he's a good horse, placed in a Gold Cup, placed in a Derby, but the facts are there, he just hasn't been able to win one of those big ones.
The best thing about Deep Pockets being in the race is he's going to run in the Auric colour the Auric colours, and they're one of the biggest owners in Singapore. They're one of the oldest owners in Singapore. They've won a bundle of feature races over the years. They haven't had many, this level horses for a long time, so it's just great to see them having a runner on the day.
And Ready to Strike for Laurie Laxon. Laurie's always been of the opinion, Matt, that this is a top class, middle distance staying horse, and he's kind of been proven correct over the last 2 or 3 months.
I was tipping him in Class 4s about 6 months ago and couldn't get a win with him, and all of a sudden he rolls up in the International Group 1.
That's Laurie.
Yeah, well, he was right, and the horse has progressed and gone all the way, and he's going to be up on the pace, and Deep Pockets will get back. At least both those horses have the home ground experience. I reckon Deep Pockets will pick off a few late on, but look, he hasn't been able to beat the top locals at Group 1 level. I'm not sure he can beat the internationals.
I think the best local clearly is Better Life. Any argument there, Larry?
No argument.
No argument?
Can be none.
Can be none.
But I will say, thank goodness Laurie's got a horse, because it is his week, basically. We run the races around him and his family. It's a great week for
It could definitely be your final show, I'd suggest, with those sort of comments, Larry. But yeah, Better Life, she's a wonderful mare, and she's been partnered pretty well right through her career by Alan Munro.
Gate number 6 with Better Life, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm happy about it. We're not far, well, we're next to Flax. And initially you try and get on Flax's heels, I guess. Assume you go forward, and we'll try and be positive from the gate and try and be in the first 4 or 5 and see how that works out. If you're a bit further back, you can get squished out a bit, can't you, from the outside and inside. So we just have to see how it goes early. But she's quite good out the gates now. She's very professional. She's got good early speed, so I should be able to find my way nicely, I think.
Obviously, she's pretty much got the local horses covered. How do you think she's going to measure up at this level?
Oh, it's a really hard call to say that, but she's got home advantage. And that's a big thing. They've got to travel, and she's used to the turf track, so that's also an asset. And she's in great shape, so we'll see how she is. And don't forget, she's only 4. Whatever she does this year, she's going to be a whole year better next year. So that's great.
And since the big win in the group race last time, how's she come on since then?
I'd say she's improved, yeah.
Alan Munro's won an English Derby, of course, and he's partnered Better Life right the way through. She's a terrific horse, and This feels so strong that we've got our doubts, but she's a great horse on the way up too.
Yeah, I asked Takaoka after she won last time at what stage or where she was percentage-wise in fitness. I think he said about 98 or 97. So she's been 100% here, no question. 4-year-old, terrific horse, and she had to go to this race really. I know she could have tackled the Richards through the season, but there's no horse over distance that can get anywhere near her at the moment. She's a good length or two better than the rest, so she has to take on the internationals.
That's it. And if you're looking at the form guide and you think, well, you know, Ready to Strike beat this mare 2 starts ago, but that was first up 1,800 metres when Takaoka couldn't find a mile race to bring her back. That was the only reason she was beaten first up 1,800 metres. So she needed the run, Larry.
And the big story for me is Takaoka. I was here when he came here as a struggling trainer. He had Japanese horses that weren't going well. Some of them are still going around, I think, as 12-year-olds. Few mares. He was battling. He was on his way home. We've seen it happen before with Japanese trainers and Australian trainers. He stayed. 3 Gold Cups later, he's got the best horse in Singapore, and 4 Gold Cups later, he's a superstar, Takaoka, and I really hope he wins.
Takaoka's certainly gone up like that since then. How would you say your career has progressed since those early days?
Terrifically. I'm working less.
You are. Well, you've got a job now. As we have a look here, we've got Better Life. Don't see a lot of her out the back there, but you probably don't need to see her track work. You know she's going to turn up in tip-top condition every time.
Yeah, exactly. With the locals, we don't, you know, we watch them every week, and the form's there on the board, and you know that they're acclimatised. But this is just a terrific win. She deserved this, and it was, it's just good watching good horses.
Doesn't win by big margins, Matt, but she just wins, and you know halfway up the straight she's going to win. She's just too good for them.
That's Ready to Strike in second. Deep Pockets getting home, and Flax into 5th position. So all the horses, you know, with the exclusion of Lazar, were in that. And she beat them comfortably. And there's nothing to suggest, even the barrier draw, there's nothing to suggest that those horses can beat her, that the locals turn the table. She beat them comfortably in the Gold Cup. And I think she'll be the first of the Singapore horses home, all going well.
Can she win this race?
Well, I don't know, really. I'd like to think she'd finish in the first 4. It'd be a monumental moment for Singapore racing if she did.
Yeah.
It'd be a legitimate Group 1 international win, wouldn't it?
Oh, if she won
against this lineup, yeah.
Yeah, you really take notice. Larry, top 4 for her? Have you got her in the top 4?
Oh, listen, there's some... I will check it out. I may have her in the top 4.
You do, Larry.
I do. I threw her in for 4th. I think she can win it. I think because the home ground advantage is huge. And as you said, you saw with Waikato and the horses like King and Kin, if she's there and she's having a day out, you know, you've got a top jockey on board. He knows how to win the big ones. It's just, and as you say, it'll bring the house down for sure.
It's a nice talking point. We can talk and whether she will or won't measure up. You put the question to Alan Munro, and he doesn't know either. I mean, no one knows, but we've got our fingers crossed. And what we will say to the international people who are tuning in, she's the best we've been able to throw at this race for some time.
And a little omen bet, it's the Australian breeding weekend with the Oz Horse on Friday night, and a lot of Australians here, and only Australian bred in the race.
Good point. There you go, Larry. That's why you go on the big dollars.
That's the big dollars, all right.
Yeah, so Better Life, wonderful mare. Whether she can win, we've got our fingers crossed for her for Singapore and connections. Time to put the decisions down. No turning back from here, fellas. Selections for the Cup. I'm going to go Pastorius. Drawn out a little bit wide, but I've been with it pretty well all week. So I'll put it on top of Military Attack, who probably logically from the barrier and the form is the one to be on, but just going with Pastorius. Better Life and Hunter's like my top 4.
I think there's one of those races where the winner's going to be obvious. And
afterwards.
Yes. And as you say, Military Attack wins, you go, well, you know, Blind Freddie could have seen that. I've liked Red Cadeau for the form through the World Cup and just as a traveller. Your horse on top, Pastorius, that can win and win comfortably. It's just in super form. And Better Life, and that's the one I'll be cheering for, but got her in for 4th.
Yep, I'll go with Pastorius, Red Cadeau, Military Attack and Better Life. Terrific. And we may well have missed the winner there.
Thanks for that, Matt.
Well, no, it was including everybody. I mean, it's not conclusive, but there's a lot of good horses that have been left out there.
The depth of both races is amazing, and I've left out horses in the sprint. You just can't make room for them, and they can get out and win it quite comfortably.
A few more votes for a couple of horses, Military Attack and also Pastorius there from the media, Craig.
Okay, so just to recap, I'm Mr. Big in the sprint and Pastorius. Larry?
Red Cadeau in the big one, and I'm on Dasher Go-Go.
Yeah, I'm with you in the big one, the Pastorius, but I'm against you. I'm going with Lucky 9 to win the Chris Flyer. for
Okay.
Hong Kong.
For Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it, fellas. Thanks for your input. Thanks for the efforts during the week. It's been a big week, but the best week of the year to be involved in racing here in Singapore. And hopefully, we've shed some light on the chances of runners in the two big races.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
It's not any clearer to me, but it's a great talking point. I think it's just fantastic fields this year.
Okay, thanks, Larry.
Thanks for having me. Always an enjoyable week.
It is an enjoyable week. Good luck with your investments there on Sunday. Hopefully, you have a little bit of luck.
Goodbye.